Hi there, this is Dana. In this quick video, I'm just going to be showing you some advanced backstitch techniques. So I've had a few people recently emailing me asking about how to do like longer runs of backstitch. You can see in the back here, I'll focus in a second, how to go across the angles, because there's a lot of backstitching patterns that doesn't just follow the edges, which is what some people expect. Like me, for example, I tend to do long runs. I tend to do a lot of like watercolor type effects where the backstitch doesn't necessarily line up with the colors to give a unique effect. So in this tutorial, I'm just going to be showing you a few simple tips to deal with these different types of backstitch. So in the back here, you can see that this particular one, I'm just going to focus a little bit, there we go. So you can see this one here, it's going across 6. So it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've had a few people, I guess, if they're just new to backstitch or if they've never really done it, they're just kind of like, well, how do I stitch in, like, from this one to this tiny little section here, and then from this little section, they don't understand. So the first tip is you're going from corner to corner. So you can see here the gold line of backstitch is starting here in this corner, and it's going up to this corner here. So that's your corner to corner. I'm working on a Lugana fabric here. It's a nice even weave, so I'm actually stitching over 2 holes. So in this case, you can go into the middle here. Well, I'll show you that in a second. If you're using Aida fabric, you can go into the center of the fabric as well, like this. Backing preview is actually Aida, so you can just puncture the center of a block of Aida if you're not wanting to do like a really long stretch like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do halfway and then the other half, and I'll show you how that works. So I've got my needle here, and so we're going to go across 3 horizontally, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to go up half. So it's going halfway through that brown block, right in between the brown and the black block right there. So in this case, you go down through there. This is easier for me because I am using the even weave. I should be sure it's going actually in the hole. Yeah. But yeah, if you are using Aida, it's not too bad to try and puncture through the Aida itself. You might just need to give it a little bit of a wiggle, because sometimes tapestry needles aren't the sharpest things to do backstitch with. And then for me, I'd come back, so this is where the stitch is going to, the line of backstitch is going to finish. I don't know if you can quite see that there. Come back and go back into that exact same hole, and then you're going to get your one long run of backstitch. You can just go all the way across. That's totally fine to do. Some people are like, oh, you can't do runs more than a few stitches. It's fine. The only time you'd ever really want to be careful about not doing really long runs is if it's something like a tea towel or, say, a child's toy that's going to get used a lot and touched a lot or washed, in which case the long runs might actually get snagged on something because they're kind of loose thread, right? If you are going to do longer runs, I would suggest just carefully pulling them just a little bit tighter so they do lie flatter to the surface, so they don't kind of bubble up. All right, and so as you can see in the pattern, just focus that. So the next one down is going from this corner here to this one. So you're going basically over 1 and down 2. So I'm going to do that as one long stitch. All right, move my camera around. All right, I'm just going to place this and then focus the camera a bit. Alright, so you can see here, so I'm just going to focus. So I've gone, I don't know if you can quite see, there's the corner, they've gone down 2 and over 1. So the reason I'm doing this is sometimes you can go in the same direction each time, like you go up and under and up and under and up and under and up and under. Sometimes if you're changing directions, you just end up having to pull your floss across the back a little bit, which is fine. It's not that big of a deal. And then there's this one here, this one here, just one short little, sorry, the camera keeps moving. It's one short little run, just one stitch across here and then up and over 1 here. So the trick when you're doing backstitch, it looks a little different than normal, like it's not following the exact edge of the stitching, like say of a color, or say the outside edge of a pattern type thing, like along this edge here, just look and see where the ends are landing of the stitches, and then you should be able to figure it out pretty easily. If you still can't figure it out, there's actually a lot of Facebook groups that will are very, very helpful. Like if you showed, like usually in most Facebook groups, you're not allowed to show parts of the pattern. It's a copyright issue. But like if you showed, like say this tiny little section here, like, you know, these 4 stitches type thing, and just said, I don't understand how to do this section of backstitch, then people would be fine with you showing that amount. It's just they don't want enough of the pattern showing to be identifiable so that you could actually like make the pattern from that bit that's shown. Alright, so here you can see part of the Joust Another Anniversary pattern. I'm going to be showing you how to find where the backstitch actually crosses the lines. So as you can see, this looks quite wavy on the actual pattern, but when you actually stitch it, it does look straight. So the reason I did it sort of like this is so that when you're stitching, you're not having to carry your thread across too many stitches. So what I'm going to do is I've got my little pointer here. I'm going to be just showing you where the lines cross so you can see where the intersections are and where your needle would actually come in and out. So here is one here. You can see the black backstitch line actually crosses the intersection fully of those quadrants. And you can see it carries down, so it's going across 3, down 1. This is the next intersection here. And it's going across 2, down 1. Across 2, down 1. Across 2, down 1. And this one's going across 3, down 2. So that's all you'd have to do. Like if you have your pattern printed, or if you have like say a PDF reader that you can actually draw on your pattern with and mark up your pattern with, then this is actually a really good way to keep track of where you are and to prevent your eyes from doing crazy things to you when you can't figure out where the lines are crossing, is you can actually just mark your pattern up like I've done, either with a highlighter or with your PDF reader if it has that drawing ability to it. So that's pretty much it. That's how you would find where your backstitch line is going to go. You just look for where it's crossing the intersections of your grid. That's it. Another question I get is, like, say for this example here, it's going to focus a little bit. For this one here, you can see it's a run of 3. I've had people ask, like, well, can I just do it from here to here and not bother about going in between? That depends. That's personal. It's personal preference. Sometimes I do it. It depends on the type of floss and whether you think it's going to bubble up a little bit. For me, I try to do each stitch individually because it just seems to make it look a little bit more even. But some people will, you know, but it depends. Like that's the nice thing about stitching is, you know, even though there's people who are like, oh, you have to do it always as one stitch. You can't ever do a long run, whatever. It's up to you. I mean, it's your craft. It's your project that you're making. So do what you like. I mean, that's the beauty thing. So I'm just doing these 3 stitches here to make this one long run here, and then I'll do a couple more to do the little horizontal run that's going across the bottom, and then you'll see one more diagonal, and then I'll show you one longer run and then end the video there. So hopefully you get the idea of this. I mean, backstitch is quite neat, and it can be a decorative effect. It can give a lot of detail to a pattern. A lot of people don't like backstitch, which I don't really understand, because it's basically a half cross stitch that's kind of got navigational issues. It's kind of going all over the place. Alright, so you can see I've done down to here in the pattern. I've done down here. So this one here, you can see it's a longer run again. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches, and it's going up 1. So same again, you could go over 2 and come up and down there, or you could go across the full 4. Usually 4 or 5, that's about my max. I like to go across in one hit. Any longer and the line starts to get a little wobbly, and it's harder to keep the thread flat against the fabric. What you can do as well is a technique called couching. I'll cover that in another video, but basically couching is you would do the one long strand, and then you can come back with little tiny loops basically coming up and over it to kind of anchor it down. That's actually how you would stitch on like thick cord or something like that you couldn't possibly get through your embroidery fabric is you'd actually like lay the cord on and then do very careful like little loops of thread in the same color over top, and that creates this sort of textured effect of the cord without you actually having to stitch the cord through your fabric. So in this case I'm going to do one longer run just to demonstrate what that looks like. So we're going across 4 and up 1. So I'm just going to make sure this is focused properly. So across 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and up 1, so it's going into there. And then I'll show you closer so you can see what it looks like in the end. Alright, so there you go. So you can see this is a longer run here. You can see there's no breaks in it, so it's a little bit more, you can see the detail in it a little bit more. Whereas this one up here, because it's got the 2 breaks in it, you can see where it's gone into the fabric, so it sort of breaks up that shimmer a little bit more. But again, it does depend on what your personal preference is, what you like, and the project as well. Some projects, it's easier to do longer runs and have the stitches look consistent than it is to kind of break them up into smaller sections like I've done for this one. So that's it. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. I've got a new collection coming out very soon. This is actually part of one of them. If you'd like to get more information about that and get sneak peeks and get some special promotions I'll be running for that collection, I always spoil my Peacock Lounge members. You can join at the little pop-up that's going to come up in the left of your screen. The right-hand side of your screen. It's peacockandfig.com/join-now. And if you'd like to leave comments and ask questions, please do that as well. And I hope you have a fabulous day. Bye for now.